What's going on? We're back at it again with another episode of Combos with Dr. Andy out here on True Capacity Talks. Now, today we're going to be talking about arthritis. Now, I'm not really sure, Andy, why the heck we're talking about arthritis, right? I don't know too much about arthritis, but you said it was something important that we should dive into. So I want to kind of open up the floor. Like, first of all, why is it a topic that we're talking about? And I guess we can just start there.
Yeah. All right. So the importance of it, well, I get it a lot in my office. So both my other doc, Dr. Brian, people come in, whether or not they've been told they've had arthritis before or, after we do an exam and x-rays and consult with them, I explain to them that they do have a little bit of arthritis. I'll take the patients that come in and already state that they have it. They come in with this already preconception that, well, it's just age. It's something that I'm gonna have to live with as far as symptoms, right, for the rest of their life, and it is what it is. And that's not the case at all. And then for those that, whether the first time they were hearing is from either myself or my other doc, or from, say, an MD or another healthcare professional, they'll come in and just have this look of despair and just almost shock and like, or what is this? Curiosity as to like, well, I thought arthritis was this. And so I think there's a lot of confusion, misconception about what is arthritis, what exactly that looks like in the body. And, here's a pretty plain question. Does this mean pain? So I'll start with the first, just like exactly what is arthritis. So arthritis is labeled incorrecly, in my opinion, and not only my opinion, but just from those that I've learned from. So itis, itis, in literature in Latin means inflammation. And so inflammation, for those out there, it's an influx or an increase of blood flow to an area with cells and chemicals within the blood that are there for healing, but also they sensitize the nerves around that area, which can oftentimes be a result of, or come at a result of, pain, discomfort, redness, maybe some swelling, some heat. And so arthritis, what actually happens in radiology, so when we take x-rays of somebody, we can only diagnose arthritis via x-ray. So there's three components that are needed to diagnose arthritis off an x-ray. So that's decreased space in a joint. So I'm pretty sure everybody could probably picture, just a regular generic joint, bone coming in to another bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll take the knee joint, for example. Okay. So there's decreased space between the shin bone and the thigh bone. Okay. Two, so you see that on x-ray. Two would be what's called sclerosing or whitening around the edges of the bone. So as those two bones get closer together, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would be my knuckles, okay, coming close together, or the ends of the bones, those get
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more lay down of bone. So you see more bone present on the x-ray, and that looks like it's white. So, and then last thing you're looking for is what's called osteophytes, or commonly known as bone spurs. So aberrant bone growth. Now I use the word aberrant just because it's not necessarily not normal, okay? But it's an adaptation by the body to a joint that is no longer functioning as it once did. So three things again. So decreasing of that space between two bones or the joint, whitening or hardening of the ends of bones that are coming close to each other. And then lastly, just bone growth. So if you take a look at your nails, okay, all of them in particular, okay, so you can see the nail bed, which is kind of nice and pink. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
majority of your nail, it's pink or skinish color. And then at the very end, the parts that we trim, the white, some of us have a little bit dark, dirt underneath them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Others are longer than others. So that white at the very end of your nail could be what looks like the whitening at the ends of the bones.
Mm. And
Okay.
is it is it whitening, for clarification, is it whitening on the bones that are moving closer together? Or is it whitening that comes in between the bones?
For osteoarthritis, yeah, it's whitening of the ends of the bones, not
Okay,
in
so
between the joint, not in between the
it's the
joint space.
end of them, like, so literally like the
Yeah.
knuckle portion that you were talking about.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's what we see on X-ray to diagnose it,
Mm.
right? You need those three things. So now the confusing part, the difficult part is that the X-ray only tells us part of the story, right? So objectively, that's what we see. But subjectively, somebody could walk in and have a beautiful looking, in our office, a beautifully looking spine,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if we X-ray a joint, have a beautifully normal looking joint space and
Mm-hmm.
joint in general, but have the most excruciating pain,
Oh, wow.
right? Versus somebody who comes in could have a completely decrepit, degenerated spine or joint and be walking around and never even knew they had it.
Ah.
So that's where it comes into play, where like this, if somebody gets diagnosed with arthritis, okay, which is not inflammatory, like we talked about earlier,
That's so
they wouldn't even, they may not,
fascinating, dude. I'd hate to interrupt you.
they,
That's so fascinating because people literally, they conflate the two. They think they're synonyms, arthritis and inflammation.
well, and that's, and primarily like in previous episodes, we kind of talked about like just blanket statements, right? But then two, like it's literally the definition. So osteoarthritis is just bone inflammation. That's what those osteobone itis or
Mm-hmm.
arthritis is, joint inflammation, right? So, but what happens in osteoarthritis, or AKA degenerative joint or degenerative disc disease? So joint would just be pertaining to any joint in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Disc, degenerative disc disease is specific to the spine, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have discs. So I have a problem with those names because disease makes it sound like you contracted something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, oh gosh, I'm fighting off this flu, right?
Yeah.
Or pneumonia or something that you contracted. Disease makes it sound like you either have to take a medicine for it,
Mm-hmm.
or live with it until it's treated. And so it's more of osteoarthritis and degeneration are synonyms of the same thing. More appropriately, degeneration is the correct terminology that I would use, because it's wear and tear,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone goes through that, right? Now, some people walk in and like they have degeneration, in one knee over the other, and they label it as age. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let's say it's the right knee that has degeneration in it and it hurts them. It's like, well, that right knee is the same age as your left one, right? So is it truly age that causes these symptoms and objective, findings to occur, or is it something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we won't go into this, but like there's a plethora of things that could cause this. But what I really want to get people to take home with this message is arthritis is not inflammatory, meaning most people that have degeneration, when I say most, I can't come out and say all, okay? But most patients or people that have degeneration in a joint, most of the time feel better if they get up, move around, because that's what they'll come in. They'll say, oh, doc, it's stiff in the morning, but once I get up moving around, I feel a lot better. Guess what happens when you get up and move around? Blood flow starts to circulate, right? So if it was a truly inflammatory issue, the last thing you want to do is apply heat to something, because you're just going to bring more blood flow, more cells that are going to cause more sensation and pain and discomfort. And the last thing you probably want to do is move around, because all that hurts.
Yeah.
So those that come in and say, well, I'm stiff in the morning, or I'm stiff during this, but once I kind of, do a little warm up and get up moving around, I feel better. That's a pretty telltale sign that it's degeneration.
Mm-hmm.
And blood flow is actually a great remedy for decreasing symptoms for that. So I want that person to move. So, I want that person to get adjusted, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my mother's a great example. She came 6 years ago. She told me, she's like, well, my MD told me I have degenerative disc disease in her neck. And she's like, he doesn't want me getting adjusted. And I was like, well, I would never make anybody get adjusted. I'll make that very clear. Okay. But, for her, that's exactly what she needs. She needs movement, whether it's through an adjustment, whether it's through, exercise. There's very, I would say, few exercises for the neck specifically that can kind of really remedy degenerative disc disease like an adjustment can, because it is such a sensitive area as far as exercising. But she needs movement in there. She needs blood flow. She needs lymph flow. She needs electrical stimulation to those muscles that can help start to lubricate those joints again. So if she just stopped moving, it's only going to get worse. So people that have this idea that if they have arthritis, it's going to be a lifelong deterrent, and they're going to have to live in pain, that's not true. And does that mean that everybody that has arthritis needs to come to my office and get adjusted? Probably. No, I'm just kidding. I would love for them to all get care to some extent, but I just want them to understand that for one, it's not inflammatory. Two, the best thing for degeneration is good movement. If you don't use it, you lose it. Right?
Yeah, atrophy happens, dude. Like you're not going to be able to get to a full range of motion squat, right? You're not going to have dorsiflexion in your ankles if you're not consistently moving there. I mean, you're going to lose it for sure.
Right. And the other thing too is that just because and I want to make this clear too, is that, just like we said, James, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you have lost it a little bit because of some arthritis or degeneration, we'll call it, right, from now on, is you still should try and use it. And you may even be able to restore or at least come back in a positive way, some of your range of motion, some of your symptoms. It may be uncomfortable because I do have a ton of patients that I prescribe things that aren't comfortable for them because, for one, if they have degeneration in their shoulder or less room, impingement syndrome, which is what that's called, where structures kind of collide into one another that don't have enough room in between them, I require them to hang from a bar, and that's super uncomfortable. But I'm creating more space in their joint for them over a period of time. And the less that we hang from something overhead, right, the more gravity pulls our bone on top of our shoulder down into our upper arm bone. So there's less room there. So I don't want people to think that, oh, well, shoot, I didn't use it when I was younger, so now I'm screwed. No, wherever you're at, 6 years old, 12 years old, 24 years old, 42 years old, and then 70 years old. Heck, my grandmother, 95, she'll be 96 pretty soon, right? She should still be moving to some capacity that's safe for her, right? But just because she has arthritis now does not mean that, oh shoot, I lost my window of opportunity to use it. No, perfect timing is here in the now. So anything else you want to kind of ask as far as?
Yeah, the only thing like outside of, you said the only diagnoses, right? The only way to diagnose would be with radiology, right? An X-ray looking at something, to know definitively, to see it, right? As a practitioner, to see that. Now, if someone has been told that they have arthritis or they've been previously diagnosed, is there anything that people can do on their own specifically for common areas of arthritis, like just more general recommendations here, where someone could leave this podcast and like, damn, doc, I'm going to go do this and implement this, and I'm going to be better off, even if I never have the opportunity to come see another practitioner?
Yeah. I mean, without writing out a list and my mind immediately goes towards, exercises, I guess, and not anything fancy where you have to go and get a $100 or whatnot.
$100 what? You could cut out. Say that one more time.
I'm not requiring that. When I say exercises, I don't mean for people to go out and get, hundreds of dollar, membership to a gym.
Okay. Yeah.
Or even get a personal trainer, but which those things help. But, and you can add into this as well if you want, but running your joints through full ranges of motion for whatever full range looks like for you. Right. So some people are more mobile or have, a greater range of motion than others, but maximize what your own personal range of motion is. So like if it's your finger, just bend your finger fully, right? Now, am I going to require that people, do individual finger exercises for, hey, do 30 reps every 30 minutes, right, for a day for the rest of your life? It's like, no. Sometimes that might look like, do an activity that requires you to not think about moving your joints, but allocates them, such as playing guitar or piano. And I know that not everyone's a musician, but I mean, even a keyboard, just doing something, right, that gets motion. Hey, yeah, take your elbow, move it around a little bit.
Mhm.
For the low back, like get up, do some, some people may not know what this is, but do some windmills, right? Lay on your back, cross one leg over to the side and back. Just your body will kind of tell you have an itch, you know where to scratch it.
Mhm.
Most of us can understand that, like, oh, maybe my low back is tight from sitting for too long. I just need to kind of like rotate or twist. Your body will kind of tell you. But the biggest thing I can tell you, if you never see anybody else or hear anything else, is that run your joints through their full ranges of motion. That'd be the best thing, that piece of advice that I could give.
Yeah.
If
So
they're,
don't limit yourself.
if they're not going to see anybody else.
Yeah.
any
Well,
further,
because if
yeah.
you're going to see someone else, you're going to have, some supervision doing Jefferson curls, some supervision doing split squats, some supervision doing like a lot of things that, hey, you can do, but you need to do them with the intention, and you need to have somebody that knows what they're doing that can walk you through them. So really, like, if we're just to say, hey, just body weight, just more movement, more blood flow into the areas that are like a little creaky, yeehaw, do a little bit more of that. And then if you can, maybe hit up. I mean, would a good recommendation be from you to look up stuff on YouTube from any specific creators, any specific coaches, or any specific programs for full range of motion movements?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to say, True Capacity's YouTube channel.
That was not intentional to be a plug,
No,
but okay.
it was not. No, but I mean, I've done a lot of work as far as, like, putting some videos out there and to kind of showcase some movements. But definitely Marcus Philly is one kind of, he's not a personal mentor of mine.
Yeah.
But I've followed and learned a whole bunch of stuff from him.
Mhm.
I know you like Ryan Fisher from Chalk with a lot of his
Yeah.
work, and those can be a little bit on, like, you look at those guys and they're freak athletes, right? But a lot of their core stuff is
In their own
really,
right.
yeah, like they take the time to do things intentionally. And you'd probably be a better resource for everyone to kind of drop some names for them. But I mean, as much as there's incorrect stuff on the web,
Mhm.
And as much as I don't know everything,
Yeah.
I really just try to learn from those that are a lot smarter than me and disseminate that knowledge to people. But
For sure.
if you where you fail is if you never start. So I'd rather have people start to just, because that's where I started.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't born with this with things, or this idea that I'm gonna find these people and follow them and read all their stuff. But is if you just get on YouTube and you type in, hey, hip range of motion, you'll get a drop down of a ton of videos showing you a lot of things, and you'll probably get a massive benefit from just doing them. And maybe some of them aren't even that great, but I don't think you can really go wrong. Right?
Yeah, one
If
is greater
something
than
looks
zero.
like, yeah. Yep. I mean, if you see something on there, use your best judgment. If you see somebody hanging from a pull-up bar strapped into like 5 bands, trying to do some sort of like acrobatic swinging back and forth like a monkey, yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend that to everyone or anyone. Do you know what I mean? But use your best discernment.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, if you have shoulder stuff, boom, type in like, hey, shoulder range of motion, shoulder mobility, and you'll get a drop down of stuff, and you can pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
There's some things that I look on there, and for my own self, for my low back, let's just say, and some stuff I love that I've never seen before. Other things I'm like, I don't really see the value in this, and I'll try it, and it didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
But there was no loss, because I learned that that doesn't really work for me, or maybe that's not exactly doing what it says it's doing.
Got it. Okay. So I guess then let's take it, since you did mention the True Capacity YouTube, I mean, we have like 300 movement videos on there. Hit me with a list of just like some general things that come, or some movements that come to mind for, like, let's say, hey, like one for hip, one for knee, one for shoulder that maybe we've recorded or you've recorded and we've uploaded. Just something where someone could start.
Yeah. So I'll start from like the bottom up. So we'll start from the foot, ankles, and kind of just go up, hitting the major
Mm-hmm.
joints. So ankles,
Mm-hmm.
two of them. I love doing tibialis raises
Okay.
for the shin, and then I love doing calf raises, all different kinds of calf raises. So I know those seem very simple, and they are, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
spend a whole lot of time doing really gross
Mm-hmm.
movements as far as our ankles anymore. So yeah, tibialis raises and calf raises, okay, of
Mm-hmm.
all times. And there should be some videos up on True Capacity showing those.
Mm-hmm.
For the knee, I love sissy squats, SISSY squats,
Mm-hmm.
or even what are called reverse Nordic curls. And so both of those really, really help with knee flexion or closing of the knee joint. Those are great for those. Hips, man, I love if you do have a hip or low back tightness, right, or degeneration, arthritis going on. I love windmills, um, wide stands in particular, wide stands, windmills. I love single leg cone touches. So again, if you just type these into YouTube, you should be able to find drop down menu
Mm-hmm.
of these movements. And then I love what are called Cossack squats, COSSACK. Those are great for hip mobility. And again, if you go online and you see these videos of these athletes performing it, generally most of them are really good at moving. So if that's not you, that's okay. Like just do what you can. If you can't drop into a full Cossack squat or a full windmill or a full sissy squat or a Nordic curl, like
Mm-hmm.
just know that your range of motion may look different, and that's okay. But you should still strive to reach the full range of motion for yourself. For the spine, Jefferson curls are fantastic, and again, they can look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Shoulders, hang from a bar, super simple,
Yeah.
right? James, I know you're shaking your head, right?
I
So
love it.
just hang from a bar, palms facing away from you, and just dead hang. It's a great exercise. And then I think I would say, if anything, to go on with the shoulders, even like the thoracic spine, just to keep it simple, I would say an arm bar, ARM, BAR, arm bar
Mm-hmm.
exercise. That'll help just kind of build stability within the shoulder blade, and also kind of just help with range of motion of the shoulder in general.
Okay.
So I think I covered most
Yeah.
most of the joints going up.
Yeah. I would say you covered the majority of the commonly achy joints that most people have in today's day and age. And, there's definitely, more specificity on fingers and what have you, but like that is all kind of like pay attention to the big stuff first, right? And then let's kind of work from there. What is the easiest to implement down to like the most specific? And so we can go there. We do have on our YouTube channel a lot of those videos that you're talking about. And if we don't, then there's a ton of people, Knees Over Toes guy has some, Marcus Philly has some, Ryan Fisher has some, TWS Training has some, the Athlete Physio has some. There's like a lot of other people that have some on YouTube, and we'll continue to add more, but you should be able, YouTube is a great resource for that. And just working on some mobility, working on full range of motion more than you do just to warm up for a workout. And you should be better off than not. I think that's exhaustive on arthritis in general. Is there anything that you think that we skipped over?
I mean, probably. I do tend to kind of ramble on, but no, I think hopefully that cleared it up for some people as far as it's not a death sentence, right?
Yeah.
And it's not an inflammation issue, but it's just a little bit of wear and tear. And the more you can move, full range of motion, the more you use it, right, you won't lose it.
Beautiful. Well, we're back at it again with another episode next week, and we'll be release time has kind of changed a little bit. We're releasing in the evenings now instead of the mornings. There's higher viewership and more people get to see it, and so we're releasing in the evenings now. If this has provided any value to you at all, or any of the episodes have, we would love it if you would share it with somebody. Send it to a friend, your mama, your brother, your sister, your side piece, your main man, whatever, anyone to just get it in some more hands. And then if there's any topic that you want to see us cover, we're all ears there too. Comment section, DMs, email, what have you. and let's rock and roll. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, and we greatly appreciate your time.